In the most intense period of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a competitive space race for technological and scientific dominance. The Soviet Union took an early lead by launching the first satellite, but the United States eventually won by successfully landing the first man on the moon. Since then, the United States has remained at the forefront of space exploration until China's remarkable surge in recent years. But on the other side of the world, in China, a new aerospace superpower is also developing dramatically, threatening the leading position of U.S. aerospace. Now, China just admitted they've launched something so advanced that it will change everything. What is this revolutionary spacecraft recently launched by China? Keep watching to find out. Into this topic and more for today's episode.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of my channel.
On July 20th, 1969, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, accomplished its most iconic feat with the Apollo 11 mission, as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to step foot on the lunar surface. Today, NASA stands as the world's leading space exploration organization, boasting an annual budget of $32 billion. Despite its remarkable achievements, such as the Voyager missions, the Kepler mission, and the Hubble Space Telescope, HST, NASA now sees the China National Space Administration, CNSA, as a formidable competitor. China has successfully conducted 207 launches between 2010 and 2019, with over one-fifth of their total launches occurring in 2018 and 2019 alone. Currently, China has embarked on its most ambitious projects, surpassing Russia, India, and the United States in the realm of space exploration. China just admitted they've launched something so advanced that it will change everything, but to understand why and how we need to travel back in time to where China's space exploration began. Furthermore, China's space program remained primarily focused on missile testing, with potential conflicts in space, and on the ground serving as the driving force behind technological advancements. In 1988, China established the Ministry of Aerospace Industry, serving as the overarching authority responsible for overseeing all aspects of spaceflight. After a few years, the ministry underwent restructuring, leading to the creation of two distinct entities, the China National Space Administration, CNSA, and the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. Both governmental and private industry entities joined forces, pooling their expertise and resources to actively participate in China's burgeoning space program. However, many of its functions are gradually being transferred to the Wenchang Center in Hainan, strategically situated at a low latitude. Furthermore, Beijing and Xi'an house Chinese Space Mission Control Centers, while the CNSA operates a fleet of tracking ships deployed worldwide. The CNSA's extensive deep space tracking network relies on antennas located in Beijing, Shanghai, Kunming, and other key locations. On July 23, 2020, China launched its first interplanetary exploration called Tianwen-1. The mission aimed to explore Mars comprehensively, gathering scientific data about the planet's geology, atmosphere, magnetic field, and potential for water and ice. Consisting of an orbiter, lander, and rover, Tianwen-1 arrived in Mars orbit in February 2021. The orbiter serves as the main spacecraft, studying the Martian atmosphere, climate, and surface features while acting as a communication relay. The lander autonomously touched down on the Martian surface, carrying instruments to study the local geology, soil composition, and magnetic field. It also facilitates communication between the rover and the orbiter. The rover, named Zhurong, was deployed to explore the Martian surface, examining soil, rock samples, and surface composition. Its objectives include investigating the climate, searching for signs of ancient life, and studying water-ice distribution. Tianwen-1's successful entry into Mars orbit and deployment of the lander and rover in May 2021 marked a significant achievement for China's space program. The mission aims to deepen our understanding of Mars topography, geology, soil characteristics, water resources, and climate. Presently, China's space program aspires to transcend the boundaries of Earth and make strides toward lunar and interplanetary exploration. Furthermore, China has set its sights on Mars, contemplating future missions that may involve human exploration. In light of the United States' shifting priorities, China is also exploring the possibility of undertaking asteroid sample missions. This cutting-edge instrument will enable Chinese astronomers to delve into the mysteries of black holes and neutron stars, furthering our understanding of the universe. China has launched more than 200 rockets in the past 10 years alone, sent an unmanned mission to the moon, and has its own space station after being kicked out from the International Space Station. China and its private space companies have been on a remarkable launch spree with 54 missions to orbit in 2022 and a target of more than 60 launches in 2023. In comparison, SpaceX, the busiest American launcher, sent 61 rockets to space in 2022. These achievements demonstrate the significant strides China is making in space exploration and the increasing competitiveness of the space race. While China is making impressive progress, the United States still maintains a substantial lead in various aspects of space exploration, including budget, number of active satellites, international collaborations, and established space infrastructure like the International Space Station. But on the other side of the world, in China, a new aerospace superpower is also developing dramatically, threatening the leading position of U.S. aerospace. They even do better than the U.S. in many aspects, like the space station or successfully launching the first methane fuel rocket. Besides, China is also applying a formidable strategy, copying ideas from successful companies in the world to beat those same ones. Of which, SpaceX, founded by billionaire Elon Musk, is one of the most copied companies. Most recently, Chinese companies have made important strides with their copy idea. This is like a warning to SpaceX, in particular, in the U.S. private space companies in general. We all know that almost all the U.S.'s private aerospace companies have decades of history. Compared to these companies, Chinese companies are quite new. During the last century and first decade of this century, all Chinese aerospace activities were still undertaken by government organizations. It wasn't until 2014 that China opened its aerospace sector to commercial and private activity. This was an important change for the strong acceleration of this country's aerospace industry over the past many years. Beijing Interstellar Glory Space Technology Limited, or Ipace, is one such company. This company was founded in 2016, meaning they've only been in this industry for just over 7 years. But with that 7 years, they're making progress on par with companies that have been in business for a long time. Most recently, on November 2nd, they successfully launched a hot test with a Hyperbola 2 test vehicle at Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Hyperbola 2 is a small rocket with a height of 17 meters and a width of 3.35 meters, using a JD-1 or Focus 1 engine with a thrust of 15 tons. The flight lasted 51 seconds, reaching an altitude of 178.42 meters. It then successfully landed vertically 1.68 meters away at a terminal speed of 0.025 meters per second. The above success is an important step in the company's roadmap to develop reusable launch vehicles. They're planning to create a medium-class rocket that will probably launch in 2025. But what we need to pay attention to is its features. What did you see when you looked at the Ipace prototype? Yeah, it has many familiar features that we're seeing in SpaceX's most powerful rockets. The first similarity is vertical landing and reuse. When we mention this ability, we'll immediately remember SpaceX's Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy with their unbelievable vertical landing and reuse records. This is the goal that every company is aiming for. Space quickly learned and applied it to its vehicle. To serve that landing, this vehicle is also designed with 4 landing legs that are similar to the current design of the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters. Regarding fuel, Hyperbola 2 uses methane and liquid oxygen fuel instead of solid fuel like previous prototypes. We all know this fuel mixture is being used by Starship, the world's largest rocket being developed by SpaceX. Methane and oxygen are the mixture that would be suitable for distant missions like the Mars mission of SpaceX. That means the goals of Hyperbola rockets and Ipace will also be extremely ambitious. After Hyperbola 2, Ipace is planning to create a larger and more powerful vehicle, Hyperbola 3, which is expected to reach orbit in 2025. This rocket will have a mass of 13.4 tons and a length of 69 meters and can carry 8.5 tons into LEO if reused. Space is aiming to launch Hyperbola 3 up to 25 times a year by 2030. That is also another copy product of Space. In terms of height, it's about the same height as the current Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy prototypes with a height of about 70 meters. In addition, another version of Hyperbola 3, Hyperbola 3B, will also have a payload compartment design that's similar to payload compartments of the Falcon Heavy, which can carry up to 15 tons of payload to lower Earth orbit. Space is taking its biggest distances from SpaceX, vertical landing and reuse of Falcon rockets and Starship fuel. They're shifting those ideas, then combining them and pressing the copy button. Their goal is to create clones to defeat the original versions. This is not the first time Chinese companies have copied SpaceX technology. We can take the example of a Chinese startup company, SpaceX. Early this year, they introduced a vehicle with exterior designs made of stainless steel material that looks similar to SpaceX's Starship and also used a mixture of liquid oxygen and liquid methane. Or we can also mention CAA Space. The companies introduced a suborbital launch vehicle similar to Blue Origin's New Shepard, in which the capsule called ZK has an exterior design similar to SpaceX's Dragon capsule. Those are two other typical examples showing the radical coping strategy of Chinese commercial rocket companies. Thanks to that, today many major Chinese commercial aerospace companies have launched their vehicles into orbit. Like CAS Space, Galactic Energy, Space Pioneer, and Land Space. The most notable company recently is Land Space. They successfully launched the Zhuke 2 in July, becoming the first company to be able to launch a methylox-fueled rocket into orbit. This rocket has also many features similar to SpaceX's Starship. The important thing is that this company was only founded in 2015, but with copied ideas, they've already reached the target that SpaceX has not achieved. The US companies like SpaceX have spent decades to develop and have the current achievements. But just with that copying strategy, Chinese companies only take a few years. They just need to copy and fly. Chinese government will handle the rest for them. The above strategy is seriously threatening SpaceX in particular and the US aerospace companies in general. SpaceX, led by billionaire Elon Musk, is still the world's leading aerospace empire. The miracles he created with SpaceX are still shaking the aerospace industry. For example, on November 4, SpaceX launched the 75th Falcon 9 flight this year. During this flight, booster 1058 also set a reuse record of 18 times. It takes a long time for other companies to achieve these miracles. SpaceX is becoming a benchmark, a perfect standard for other companies to aim for. However, SpaceX is facing many disadvantages. Because they're pioneers, their breakthrough ideas are often copied by competitors, typically Chinese companies. In addition, while they're trying to help the US maintain its leading position, they often encounter barriers from government agencies. We can recognize this problem in the Starship project. While China's rockets are continuously testing and flying, SpaceX is still having to remove barriers from the government to be able to conduct Starship tests and launches. Delays in the working process of government agencies are hindering the development of companies like SpaceX as well as the entire country. That is unacceptable. It's absurd that SpaceX can build a giant rocket faster than they can shuffle paperwork. This tweet from Elon Musk clearly shows what they're suffering. Right now, SpaceX is having to fight pressure from outside competitors and problems inside its country. We can affirm that SpaceX has enough power to beat all opponents and maintain their and the US's leading position. What they really need is simple government support, like what China has. It can be said that the space race is extremely fierce. China, with its copy strategy, is strongly accelerating. Rather than anything else, their goal is the position that the US is currently holding. But SpaceX is still there. They'll still be the strongest warriors representing the US to compete with large and aggressive rivals from the East. Hopefully, SpaceX as well as other companies and agencies will soon take new steps to respond to the rapid progress of Chinese aerospace companies. And that's all for today's update. If you enjoyed watching and found it useful, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. By the way, are you familiar with Ipa-toktok Philippines app? Ipa-toktok is a delivery service app designed to connect more people by delivering items door to door. For more information, download the Ipa-toktok app, here down below.